Hi friends, I'm Reverend Leanne Armstrong and this is Gimme 5. If you'll give me 5 or so minutes, I'll do my best to give you a spiritual deep breath to begin your week with. This week's scripture lesson is a parable. Those are those short stories that Jesus told that have some kind of a spiritual meaning, and sometimes that meaning is up for debate. But we're looking at a parable from Luke today, a parable from Luke 18, and it can be a confusing one, I think, especially for those of us who grew up assigning the biggest role or the most powerful role always to the person of God. So let's take off that way of looking at the parable and just look at it with the openness of this is a story. So here we are in Luke 18. There's also a couple of little postscripts at the end of this parable that I think will help us to understand what Jesus was trying to say when he was telling this parable. So here's the story. In a certain city, there was a judge who neither feared God nor had respect for people. Now, what I'm going to say is it sounds like this judge was definitely in it for the perks and not the justice of it all. Does that sound about right to you? In that same city, there was a widow who kept coming to him more than once, a lot of times, and saying, "Grant me justice against my accuser." Now, we never hear from the accuser in this parable, but it sounds as if the widow, a person of no power, was being preyed upon by this accuser. Maybe this person was trying to take what little property the widow had, was trying to force her out of her home, which was common in Bible times. We don't really know, but we know that the widow kept coming and kept coming. For a while, this judge refused to grant her justice, but later he said to himself, "Though I have no fear of God nor respect for anyone," in other words, though I'm just in this gig for myself, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, because she's a pest, I will grant her justice so that she may not wear me out by continually coming. I am sick of her and I need her to go away. So I'm going to give her what she wants. And that is the end of the parable. That's the end of the parable. So right there, if this was an Aesop's fable, you might put something in here like, if you need something from somebody powerful, just keep bugging them until you get it. And that might be the moral of the story. But that would also be a really good way to take advantage of someone, to just wear them down. Matter of fact, I think my kids might have listened to an Aesop's fable like that when it was bedtime and they really wanted something, or if they wanted a toy from the store. There has to be more to it than that, I think, for Jesus to have used the story this way. So let's listen to what Jesus says. He says, "Listen to what the unjust judge says." So there we go. Jesus is telling us this is the anti-judge. Judges were in place to dispense justice. And this judge does not. He is an unjust judge. He is an anti-judge. And what he says is, because this widow keeps bothering me, I will give her justice so that she doesn't wear me out. For my convenience, I'll give her justice. But Jesus wasn't finished. He said, and will not God grant justice to God's chosen ones who cry out day and night? Will God delay long in helping them? Now, one thing that Jesus did not say is, God is the unjust judge. A lot of times I think I want to make some kind of an equivalence and hear that. That's not what Jesus said. Jesus said, unlike this sloppy anti-judge who's only concerned with his own comfort and ease, will not God grant justice? Wouldn't God jump to granting justice when someone cries out day and night? Is God's job as a judge not justice? Then Jesus, being Jesus, goes ahead and answers the question for once. I will tell you, he will quickly grant justice to them. Ta-da! Asked and answered. God grants justice. That's the kind of judge God is, not an anti-judge. But Jesus isn't finished. Jesus says, and yet when the Son of Man comes in this fullness of time, will the Son of Man find faith on earth? And I think what we're hearing is that there are two lessons going on. The first lesson has to do with the character of God. God is not this anti-judge, unconcerned with justice, looking to comfort and ease just for himself when people are suffering. God is engaged in the ongoing labor of justice in the world, concerned for those who are suffering when systems fail. That is who God is, and that is the lesson that is taught by this parable, but that's not all. There's another lesson, and it's about who we are, or who we can be. We are not unarmed as we strive for justice, as we keep coming at an unjust system. We are called to faith, not just for ourselves, but to partner with God, to seek a more just world again, as relentless as a widow. Beloved, as you go, and go you will, know this: God's passion for a just world and your relentless faith can be the things, in the words of Dr. King, that bend the long moral arc of the universe toward justice. Children, don't get weary till your work is done.